the most difficult choice you had to make because of love? For me, it was coming to the UK despite the cloudy weather.
And for me, despite the cloudy weather, was you coming to the UK and taking over my house.
Horrible.
You're still here.
I know, I am. Today, Luke is my husband. Welcome to the show. Last time you saw his mum and we were discussing a different story. Today for Luke, I chose a story about love. It's called The Lady or the Tiger. So, let's get started then.
That's a great moustache.
It is. Impressive, isn't it?
I know, I wish I could go there.
No, I wouldn't like that.
Wouldn't you love me with that?
That's one
Wouldn't
of
you love that?
That would be a difficult choice to live with a person with a mustache like that. If you had a beard at the same time, I think that would be okay. I hate when people, well, men normally just have mustaches. Yes, so I'm glad that...
I can't grow anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
This
is it, guys. Like...
This is the way we can avoid making another difficult choice for my life. Let's get started with the story itself. Well, first I would like to tell you a bit about the writer. His name is Frank Stockton. Have you ever heard of this writer?
No, first time for me.
Same here. I've never heard about this writer before I found this story. It says that, well, he's an American writer, but he is well known for his imaginative stories. He wrote fairy tales, but they were different from what other people wrote. What I like about his approaches, he didn't like that black and white vision that people had, like good people in fairy tales and bad people, and normally they were fighting each other. You know, like in the past.
So like everything's more like a shade of grey in his,
Yeah. What do you think? Do you remember stories from some fairy tales or stories that went like that were written a long time ago, which wasn't just like villains and good guys?
That's a good question. I think most like kids' stories and fairy tales are like very black and white. You're either a good guy, you're a bad guy, and like no one in between so much.
Yeah.
But I think I'm trying to think who would be the character that's a grey area for me.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone myself. That's why I think it's pretty cool that he wrote stories which are quite different. And it's not just that, it also says that he's an early contributor to sci-fi because he wrote about undersea exploration. Mm-hmm. You like sci-fi, don't you?
I do, and I like the sea.
So who knows, maybe he has some other stories that you would like. Let's move on to the story. As always, we're going to do it in this way. First, we're going to read the story, which will take about 10 minutes. Then we'll give you a summary just in case you missed something or maybe didn't quite understand what happened. And then we will go through each sentence and talk about different phrases, words, explain what they mean, and so on. Mm-hmm. Are you ready?
Go on, let's do this.
This is the very first time Luke is going to read or listen to this story. Would you like to read it or would you like to listen to it?
Well, what do you like me to do?
Well, I don't know.
Shall I have a go? We could take turns a paragraph each, just or a bit. Or...
I don't like that idea for some reason. Just my opinion. I think when people are listening, let me know, guys, what you think. That people get used to a person, the way they narrate and the voice. And if there were different roles, in this case, there are no dialogues, no conversations. Okay. Now, do you want to do rock, paper, scissors?
Whoever wins...
Reads.
Whoever wins reads.
Yes.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. You win. Yes. You guys didn't see what it was. Scissors and paper.
Yeah.
Yes. There you go.
Okay. The Lady or the Tiger, 1882. Back in the day, there was a king who was kind of half wild. He had a few classy ideas, but deep down he was still flashy, dramatic, and pretty untamed. It suited his wild side. He had a vivid imagination and this magnetic energy that made everyone go along with whatever crazy idea popped into his head. He didn't bounce ideas off others, he trusted his gut. Once he made up his mind, that was it. When things were going smoothly in the kingdom, he was easygoing and pleasant. But when things went sideways, he got even more cheerful. He actually enjoyed fixing messes. One thing he picked up from his more polished neighbours was the idea of a public arena, a place where people could be entertained and enlightened by watching acts of courage. But of course, he gave it his own wild twist. His arena wasn't about gladiators or settling religious beefs with swords. No, he turned it into a massive stage for what he called poetic justice, where your fate, reward or punishment depends entirely on luck. Whenever someone was accused of a serious crime, they were brought to the arena for trial. The whole thing was a reflection of the king's chaotic creativity. He didn't follow rules or traditions, he just went with whatever felt right to him. The arena, with its twisting hallways, secret doors, and dramatic design, was all part of his over-the-top style. So here's how it went. When the stands were packed and the king had taken his throne, he gave a signal. A door beneath him opened and the accused walked out into the centre of the arena. In front of them were two doors, identical in every way. The person on trial had to pick one, completely on their own, no clues, no help. If they opened one door, a furious, starving tiger would leap out and tear them apart. If they opened the other door, a stunning woman, handpicked by the king, would walk out and they'd get married on the spot. That was their reward for being innocent. Whether the accused already had a partner didn't matter to the king. Emotions didn't factor into justice.
No, that's why I'm glad you don't have to to go there.
I'm just glad I never got the tiger. If the tiger came out, the crowd would mourn. Sad music would play and people would cry. And everyone would leave in silence, whispering about how tragic it all was. Mm-hmm. But if the woman came out, there'd be a full-on celebration. Yay!
Yay!
Priests, choir, dancing, flowers, the works. The bells would ring, people would cheer, and a happy couple would head home while kids tossed petals in their path. Kind of feel sorry for the wife of the person who was already there.
I do. Yes.
It was brutal, sure, but people thought it was fair. The accused had a 50-50 shot. No one could say the king was biased. It was all up to chance. Now the king had a daughter, stunning, sharp, and just as strong-willed as her dad. She was his favourite. But things got messy when one of the royal courtiers, a young man from a much lower rank, fell on her. So he fell for her. That's a very different...
He would deserve to die then.
And the princess, she fell on him too. She fell for him too. He was bold, smart, and drop-dead handsome. Of course, when the king found out, he was furious. How dare some low-born guy go after his daughter? So the king had the boy thrown in jail and scheduled him for a trial in the arena. Everyone was buzzing. This kind of thing had never happened before. The kingdom's tiger cages were searched top to bottom for the most terrifying beasts they could find. At the same time, the best matchmakers were out looking for the perfect woman in case a young man opens the right door. Everyone knew the guy loved the princess, but the king didn't care. This was his favourite game, justice by spectacle, and he wasn't about to let some love story ruin it.
Even his daughters.
Yeah, it's a hell of his daughter. Mm-hmm. The big day finally arrived. People came from every corner of the kingdom to watch. The stadium was packed, and the king sat in his usual spot right across from the two doors. When the signal was given, the young man walked confidently into the arena. The crowd gasped. He was tall, calm, and striking. Even people who didn't know him felt a pang of sadness. No wonder the princess was into him. He paused and bowed to the king, but his eyes locked on the princess, sitting on her father's right. Her face was pale, her eyes blazing, and from the moment she heard the verdict, she hadn't thought about anything else. She had made it her mission to find out what was behind each door. And she'd done it. With her wealth and her iron will, she bribed the right people to figure it out. One door hid the tiger, the other the lady. The doors were soundproof and thick, but she pushed through every obstacle. Nothing would stop her from knowing. And it wasn't just any woman behind that second door. No, that girl was drop dead gorgeous, and worse, the princess had seen her sneaking glances at a man. Maybe this was all in her head. Maybe not. But the idea that that girl could end up with her lover was unbearable. So when the young man looked at her, he didn't say a word, but his eyes asked the question, which one? And she understood instantly. No time to think, no time to weigh the options. She leaned forward slightly, eyes never leaving his, emotions barely visible, to the door on the right. He trusted her completely. Without hesitation, he walked up and opened it. And now the real question. Did the tiger come out, or the lady? This isn't just about logic, it's about raw emotion. Put yourself in her shoes. A proud, fiery, half-barbaric princess torn between love, jealousy and rage. Would she really be able to sit and watch him marry another woman? Watch him smile at her, walk hand in hand through a shower of flowers, with the crowd cheering and the music playing? Or would she rather see him die quickly and join him in some wild, eternal afterlife, forever out of reach, but never belonging to anyone else? She had wrestled with the choice for days. When the moments came, she didn't hesitate. So he pointed right. I'll leave it for you to decide. Which came out from the open door? The lady or the tiger?
This king was really selfish, wasn't he? Like, he knew that whatever happened, his daughter would in the end be really unhappy, sad, devastated. But just because he really enjoyed games like this, he chose his own joy. And I'm pretty sure her sadness would last much longer than his joy, but he decided...
Medieval Squid Game.
True. Now, for those of you who maybe missed anything, let me go through this again quickly, tell you what happened. A long, long time ago, there was a king who lived in a faraway land, and he had a very interesting tradition which he created himself. He had an arena, and anybody who committed crime, I actually don't know what kind of crimes this would be suitable for, maybe for any crime. So if somebody committed a crime and this king was to decide whether he was innocent or guilty, he put this person into the arena. And it seems to be that only men participated in this. It says nothing about female criminals, because in that case, would they marry another lady? But the point is, that person who was on trial had a choice. And he had two doors to choose from. If he opened one and he was lucky, there would be a beautiful lady coming out and he would get married with her, even if he was already married with someone else. Yeah, very strange. But if he was very unlucky, he would open a door with a tiger and then he would die. I don't think they were given weapons. We don't know anything about this.
No.
Yeah. Is it possible to...
I think it was literally like a love or death scenario.
Right. There's nothing about love though, right? I mean, how would you... Yeah, we don't know that. What are the chances that you're going to fall in love with someone you've never met before? Although, in this case though, the prince... he's not the prince, he's what's his social status?
Who?
The
person fighting?
Yeah.
I think he was just some kind of low, regular person.
Yeah. So he had met that lady before, the one who he might marry. But anyway, yeah, maybe most of the time people here wouldn't have seen each other, right? Yeah, I don't know what the chances are of you falling in love with someone if you've never even seen each other before. Anyway, this king had a daughter and she was in love with, and he, so there was a mutual love between her and somebody else who was just a common man.
Loved me at first sight, didn't you?
That is a different story. There was no tiger in our case.
You opened the right door.
I did, didn't I? You opened the right door in Turkey, do you remember?
So the story was, we met in Istanbul for the first time. She went to an Airbnb, like we were meeting up for the first time. Like we'd never seen each other before. We talked online for a while, but anyway, I was in the elevator going up to the top floor, and to get to the top floor of the elevator, and normally expect the elevator doors to open. So because it's more of an apartment building, I thought it just opened up into
the apartment.
Yeah. So I'm here on the top floor of the elevator. Nothing happens. So knock on the door. No one knocking on the door. And I'm waiting for like a couple of minutes. No one answers.
Because it was nighttime and
it was
they
nighttime,
were sleeping.
Yeah. And no, it just turns out I didn't open the elevator door. The apartment was past the hallway, so I was just knocking on an empty elevator door, really.
You had only one door, but you managed to finally open it. That's how we met for the first time, yes. I mean, face to face, yes. Sorry, going back to the story. This king had a daughter, and she was in love with a man. And when the king found out, he decided to put this man on trial. And he found a really beautiful lady who might have been in love with the man as well, but she was one of the most beautiful, or maybe the most beautiful woman in this kingdom. And they found the biggest, strongest tiger for this situation. And the king's daughter, she, of course, being powerful and rich, she found out which door hid what. And when the time came, she hinted at which door, like it was the right door, but we don't know what was hidden behind the door, because what was her thinking process, what was her feelings, what did she decide?
I think she set a tiger on him.
Why would you think so?
I think it's a case of a jealous woman who just, I just think it's a case of a jealous woman.
There was no reason why you would think so. You just think that she's semi-barbaric and she just, I think that it was the lady. Why I think so is because, well, if it's a tiger, that's it, the man dies, there's no future. You know 100% that this is the end. Whereas if it's the other lady, even if they get married, well, the man would still be alive, and if they truly loved each other, they probably could run away or something. There would be some kind of hope or something to do.
And this is why I disagree, because I think the story doesn't go beyond what we see on the page in this case for the decision. I think it's a choice of the author's intent of either this man survives and spends his life with another woman, and that's it, like live happily ever after, or he dies by the tiger. Like, no chance of him escaping the other woman and finding a way back to the princess, and no chance of him overpowering the tiger. It's like one of these two scenarios will play out.
I know what you mean. That's probably what he had in mind when he was writing the story. But then also, if we talk about what love is...
True. I agree with you in the sentiments of, like, realistically, I think if we were in, like, the shoes where you are, like, or our shoes, you'd be like, well, hang on, playing the long game ahead, what happens in a few years' time.
Like, but even, I mean, because here, at least they say she loved him, he loved her back. Maybe you would want that other person to be happy, even if it's not with you. Because, in this case, love was mutual. What if it wasn't? Maybe if you just loved someone, you would still want them to be happy with someone rather than just die.
I think that's the main question of I think that's what the story hangs upon above anything else. It's, can she put her own sadness or jealousy aside? Or does that overrule it, Can she be happy for him even though it hurt her?
Yeah.
Or is it a screw you, I can't have him, no one can have him?
That's a very difficult question. What do you think, guys? Let's vote on this. Leave a comment. In the meantime, we're going to go back to the beginning of the story and discuss some interesting words. We probably are not going to go through all of them, especially the easiest ones we are not going to discuss. But if there's a very good phrasal verb or just a word or a phrase, we're going to discuss it and talk about what they mean and how you can use them. And yeah, let's see. So back in the day, there was a king who was kind of half wild. I think this is all fine. He had a few classy ideas. Classy ideas. What does that mean?
The classy is sophisticated. I think it's stuff that has an air of, I'm trying to use another word than sophistication. Classy, sophisticated, elegance. Yeah, that's another word. So if someone's classy, it can almost be a bit understated, not shouting too much, but you notice someone who's classy. I think if you imagine a current person in the world who's classy, it's not someone who's wearing name brands all over them. It's the person who has like the subtle stuff. You can tell that they're rich, but they're like cool enough not to have to throw it in people's faces. It's kind of just low key, and to me that's classy.
Would you say that this idea of his with the arena was classy?
No.
No.
Entertaining, yes.
Yes.
I don't know what to say classy, no.
No, I don't think so either. But deep down, he was still flashy, dramatic and pretty untamed. Deep down, meaning in his heart.
Yeah, I mean, I think like deep down is not what you see on the surface of someone. Like I always say when you meet someone, most people seem normal until you get to know them. Deep down, everyone's weird, right? So deep down is what that truly is underneath there. When social barriers have collapsed and people really get to see what that person's really like.
Yeah.
I mean, Leisan's weird as hell. Deep down,
Oh, please. He was flashy. So flashy is exactly what you described. If a person's wearing lots of brands, maybe like things that are shouting, look at me, and I'm special, I'm rich, I'm powerful.
Which kind of to me counteracts or contradicts the word classy. I'm not saying they're mutually exclusive all the time, but typically anything classy is not someone who is flashy.
Yeah, makes sense. Dramatic and pretty untamed. Usually people use tame about animals, don't they?
Yeah.
When an animal is not a...
It's friendly to humans, isn't it? It's not quite the same as domesticated, because you could have a lion that's been tamed, but it's not domesticated. But you would say something like a normal house of a dog cat is definitely tamed. It's used to humans and it's not going to attack you and be friendly. So untamed is wild, isn't it?
Yeah, so he was wild.
Yeah.
It suited his wild side. He had a vivid imagination, a bright imagination. And his magnetic energy that made everyone go along with whatever crazy idea popped into his head. I like that phrase, popped into his head. Idea popped into his head.
No.
Good demonstration.
I like magnetic energy. That's a good phrase.
Magnetic energy.
Yeah. I think it's like, you get someone who's charismatic and they speak well. I mean, people fall for politicians a lot, or actors and such, and they give these speeches and this gravitas to how they talk, and their energy is magnetic. It attracts people to them. So I think that's quite a nice phrase.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Makes sense. I feel not about politicians. I really like Marilyn Monroe. I mean, so it's not about the way she looks or anything, but whenever I see videos with her or the way she speaks or says things or sings, it's just the whole atmosphere that she creates. Like, I feel like I could use magnetic energy about her.
Yeah.
I don't know if you like her, but yes. I don't think you've seen enough videos with her too.
Yeah, ironically, I've never really seen proper... I've never watched a movie with Marilyn Monroe in, or actually I've never seen her on an interview, so I've only seen like pictures of her and such, and I honestly don't know what her mannerisms or speech is like. So yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. So I'll show you. He didn't bounce ideas of others. He trusted his gut. Oh, some good words here. Bounce ideas of others. It's when you want to know what others think. I don't know what the difference is between bounce. Okay, I think I do. Between bounce ideas of others or run ideas. Okay. So, where was I? I was saying bounce ideas of others or run ideas by someone. My feeling is like if you bounce ideas of others, it's just you want to know what they think, right? Like, do they like the idea? What do they think? But run ideas by others, is it like you want their approval rather than just get feedback?
Yeah, I've never thought about that, but that makes sense. Yeah, like bounce ideas to me is almost like develop an idea. Like let me give you a rough sketch, like a very rough sketch, and you help fill in the gaps to me. But yeah, I've run it past you. Like I've got this idea, blah blah blah. What do you think of it? Yeah.
Right.
Subtle difference, isn't it? I think often they could be overlapping, but there is a subtle, like, what's a Venn diagram?
People like misunderstand.
Understand what? Looks like a cool hand symbol though.
Goodness.
And that's the last time I'm ever going to be on this show.
Yes, at the end of this, I'm going to ask you if you want to look back in here or not. By the way, remember that I am going to be putting this as a podcast as well, so not everyone can see what the hell you're doing.
Well, they're going to have lots of fun matched by hand gestures I'm doing.
Yeah, they will have to go on YouTube and see what's going on. Anyway, he trusted his gut. This is another expression I really like, everything to do with guts. He trusted his instinct. Intuition, that's what I want to say. Is it instinct or intuition or both?
Both. I was going to go with instinct, but intuition's just as good.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Once he made up his mind, that was it. Again, another good phrase, make up your mind. Make a decision. Right?
Yeah.
When things were going smoothly in the kingdom, can you demonstrate smoothly?
Well, it's not bumpy. It doesn't have bumps or hiccups. Things are going good.
Yeah, things are going good. Well, what Luke is trying to say is, smoothly is just one straight line without any bumps. So they're going well in this case.
No problems, is there? Everything's going to plan. Yeah. It's going nice and easy.
This is true, but I'm sorry, whenever people say smooth, I imagine Galaxy chocolate, like smooth texture chocolate. That's my...
I suppose it makes sense that is the thing. There's no bumps in it.
Yes.
So there's a literal thing of things being smoothly, or metaphorically things being smoothly. It's still the same.
I don't think that even if the chocolate had a bump, I would mind. Still would be just as yummy.
Still chocolate to you.
Still chocolate.
Yeah.
He was easygoing and pleasant. When things went sideways, or I know that there are different ways of saying this. When things went tits up, when things went south, when things went... Is it east or something? I know that there is another way of saying it, which also means that it didn't go well.
There's quite a few. How much will I have to say on here?
As much as you want. 18 plus, guys.
18 plus. Well, things could be fucked up. Things could go to shit. Well, you started with tits up, so...
See?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
all of this is to say it didn't. When things didn't go well, this guy, the king, got even more cheerful. He actually enjoyed fixing messes. One thing he picked up from his more polished neighbors. He even had more polished neighbors. What sophisticated neighbors.
Yeah, I suppose like other kings, bigger empires, more experienced, more polished, isn't it? Mm-hmm. It's the big boys kind of.
Big boys. He got an idea of a public arena, a place where people could be entertained, had fun, right? Enlightened by watching acts of courage. Enlightened.
Enlightened, I think that's a difficult one to explain. I suppose enlightened is feeling that you've had this realization, new ideas, new wave of energy to enact it.
Mm-hmm.
So when someone's enlightened, I think they are.
Is it the same as inspired then?
I put in. I think I'd say it's the same. Yeah, I'd put in the same boat of words.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Yeah.
Right? Watching acts of courage. If somebody is courageous, they're just brave.
Mm-hmm.
So, but of course, he gave it his own wild twist. Twist. His arena wasn't about gladiators or setting religious. What does this mean? Religious beefs with swords. I've never heard this phrase before.
Well, here's a question. Is this the original text?
No. Everybody, as always, I have to keep saying that all these texts, as you saw, the story was written in 1882, which means the writer, when he wrote this story, he probably never used things like fixing messes or trusted his gut. These are like very modern phrases.
So beef, as far as I know, I don't know whether this comes from a 1980s like ad campaign. I might be wrong about this, but beef is kind of like conflict or an issue. And there was a thing called... So, it was a Wendy's commercial of Where's the Beef in 1984.
Where's the beef?
At Wendy's, we serve a hamburger we modestly call a single. And Wendy's single has more beef than the Whopper or Big Mac. At Wendy's, you get more beef and less bun.
Hey, where's the beef? I don't think there's any.
So it's when people are complaining that there is no beef in a burger.
I think, well, to me, beef now means if you've got an issue with someone.
Yeah.
Like, if you've got beef with someone, I've got a bone to pick with you. I've got an issue with you. I've got beef with you. Now, since you're pescatarian, it's difficult to have beef with you, but I'll slap you with a fish.
Yes.
But yeah.
I have fish with you.
So, here, this has got an explanation. So yeah, meaning the phrase become a popular way to express doubts about the substance of a product, idea, or an argument. It's used to highlight a lack of meaningful content or value.
Mm-hmm. And it says that it's used in various contexts, from political debates to everyday conversations. Yeah, I've never heard this. So, where's the settling religious beefs with swords?
So, yeah, settling religious conflicts or religious issues with swords. So, religious wars, basically, or battles.
Yeah. So, going back to the story, he didn't use the arena for this sort of thing. He turned the arena, into a massive stage for what he called poetic justice, where your fate, reward or punishment depended entirely on luck. Mm-hmm. I think everything is clear here. My question here for you is it true? What do you think? Is it true that in this case everything depended on luck for a person being,
No.
Why do you think so?
Because we can see in this story that the princess had found out a way of finding out what was there and influenced the decision of the person in the arena. So, whilst the intent was that it was all on luck, the actual story, says otherwise. Because straight away, without hesitation, the man in this story followed the princess's advice.
It's very interesting because if you use the chain of events, you could still turn it into whether it's luck or not. Because how about him falling in love with her, or him working there and meeting her, and the way she thought or felt, all of these things he couldn't predict, right? So he could be lucky or unlucky. But yes, if we're just talking about the arena, in this case, for him, the chance is still 50-50 because he doesn't know. Well, I guess he believes that it's the lady behind, he wouldn't want to die. Yeah. Yeah. Whenever someone was accused of a serious crime, they were brought to the arena for trial to decide whether they are innocent or guilty. The whole thing was a reflection on the king's chaotic creativity. He didn't follow rules or traditions. He just went with whatever felt right to him.
See, I quite like. There's a nice phrase here: "King's chaotic creativity." Now, it's still lots of alliteration. It sounds nice together. I mean, I know a K and a C technically are two different letters, but it's a K sound. King's chaotic creativity.
Yeah.
I noticed that the first time we read it, and I just thought that's a nice, like, the triplet pattern of K, K, K.
Yes. Usually writers use these kind of techniques on purpose. They think of them, they put them together. In this case, guys, this whole text is put together by ChatGPT. I converted it into a more modern text. That's why this phrase here is by ChatGPT. But yeah, thanks for spotting that. The arena, with its twisting hallways, secret doors, and dramatic design, was all part of his over-the-top style. Is this when you imagine a Squid Game?
It definitely could be a good Squid Game thing. It's that kind of thing. I mean, I think, like, when you look at Gladiator, wasn't it meant to have, like, the Colosseum meant to have, like, certain mazes sometimes and such, I think.
Oh.
I don't know. I know it had, like, more purposes than what you just seen of an open arena. So that's what I'm kind of seeing. I'm seeing, like, the film Gladiator in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. No, I actually don't know, because I can't imagine, even if it had twisting hallways, how are we supposed to see them, and how are they going to affect the entertainment of the audience?
Well, I'm seeing that you got the audience up there, on looking down. So if it's got, like, twisting
A maze.
a maze, yeah. The audience above can see, but him down below can't see. I mean, it might be able to see the audience, but not, like, what's in front of him.
That'll be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Harry Potter or something, you know. Anyway, where were we? Over the top style. I wanted to say over the top, like too much, too intense.
Yeah, I think, like, Lady Gaga. Like, she had, especially about 10 years ago, a very over the top style.
Yeah.
It's like you've got flamboyance and, you know, quite visually intense, but then you can go, like, even more, and that's just over the top.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very bright colors, strange shapes. Yeah, something completely strange that you can imagine. Yes. I think a lot of famous people, celebrities, like people who are actors or...
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's... I suppose you've also got... It goes hand in hand with someone you'd call eccentric. If someone's eccentric, very often they have an over-the-top style to go with it. They typically have, like, a quirky personality as well, so you know that they're just a bit different way they act. Not necessarily in a bad way, but you can tell that they're not the average person.
Yes. So sometimes it's all balanced and nice, but sometimes it's too much, like, over the top.
So when you say over-the-top style, though, style could be interpreted in many ways. So I say Lady Gaga, but that's more of a visual style.
Yes.
Now, you could say, in recent terms, an over-the-top style could be... I mean, not to get political or anything, but Donald Trump's style of politics can be over-the-top in a way. It's more intense than what someone's used to.
Yeah.
Despite, like, visually just wearing a suit and all that and looking like, you know, regular style in that sense. But attitudes can be over the top and big.
The way he speaks sometimes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, there's many different ways that someone can be over the top, and
yeah.
I think that's, like, important to keep in mind. An idea can be over the top rather than just a style.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a very good point. Yeah. Now, going back to the arena, the way it worked, it says here is how it went. When the stands were packed, I imagine this is the audience, everybody was there. It was full of people. Packed means full of people in this case. The king had taken his throne. He gave a signal. A door beneath him, underneath him, like under him, opened. The accused, the person who they thought was guilty or something, walked out into the center of the arena. In front of them, of this person, there were 2 doors. They were identical in every way. This person on trial had to pick one, choose one, completely on their own. No clues, no help, except this guy in the story. No clues. You know what? I read a very interesting explanation for the word clue, why it means hint or help. Do you know?
No.
At least from what I read, it says, you know that story, a legend, I don't remember what exactly who is in the story, but there was this thread that was leading somebody out from a cave, and they followed this thread and it took them out. So that's why they call it clue, like help or hint. Or
Okay.
yeah, sorry guys, I don't remember what it's called, but it's a legend.
When someone says clue, this is now all I see.
Yeah.
The Hardley Boys. 2 young whippersnappers with a knack for solving mysteries. The Hardley Boys in The Mystery of the Urinal Turd.
So that's it, Hardley Boys. We've got no leads and nobody admitting to the crime.
That sure is a mystery. Yeah, it sounds super hard. Whoever did it must have been angry with the school. Oh. Ooh. I think I'm getting a clue. Really? Yeah, this is totally giving me a clue right now. Oh. I'm starting to get a clue too. My clue's kind of pointing this way. Oh. Yeah, now I've got a total clue. I've still got a raging clue. My clue's pointing over there now. Oh, let's follow that clue.
I think this is only in South Park, but they seem to replace the word erection with clue.
Clue.
Like a hard on a clue. I don't think that's something that anyone in actually says in real life.
I don't think so.
But there we go. When we start analysing the word clue, that's what popped into my head.
You just spoiled it for everyone.
I made it better, I enhanced it. They're enlightened.
When people started listening to this episode, they're like, "Oh, a love story," but then you're coming up with all sorts of dirty things.
I think they can make lots of love with that clue. It's very loving.
Now, all right, we keep going. If they opened the door, a furious, starving tiger would leap out and tear them apart. Furious, angry, very angry. Starving, very hungry. You know, you see those videos by English bloggers. They say, don't say very angry, say furious. Don't say very hungry, say starving. These would be the words. A tiger would leap out, jump out, and tear them apart. Is that a good demonstration?
Yes.
Like, tear them into pieces, make them break into 2.
Yeah, like you tear a piece of paper. It's same concept.
It's written
Rip,
like...
rip, that's not a word. You'd rip something
Yeah,
apart. So rip, tear, same thing.
It's just interesting that this word, tear, is written in the same way as tear.
Yeah.
But it's pronounced differently.
Well, it's like record and record.
Yes and no, because there, the part of speech changes. To record is a verb, a record is a noun. So it's the same word, but depending on what part of speech it is. You see.
Of course.
But yes. Anyway, if they opened the door, if they opened the other door. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah. If they opened the other door, a stunning woman, this is when you want to say very beautiful, but you don't want to say that, you say stunning, handpicked by the king, would walk out. Handpicked. He chose himself. You can see this for different fruits and berries, can't you? Like, if you're buying some organic or some kind of special expensive fruit, it can be handpicked, they say.
Yeah. That only works over the person that he cares about what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, handpicked sounds good, but when you see certain people in certain job roles, you're like, no, I don't trust them to actually handpick the right thing. It's just like a
Yes. Yeah, because they would.
like when I order a steak to be delivered on my online shop, like obviously someone's handpicked the steak, but not looked at the steak, you know, so it's a crap steak. Like I go to the shop and I look through the different steaks, I handpick the steak, I'm like, that's a nice steak. What you've given me here instead, mate, is a steak that's 50% steak and 50% just fat in the middle. Like
Yes.
I can't do anything with that steak.
You just want to say handpicked by you. Even if you're ordering it from home, you want it handpicked by you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Guys, come get me and handpick another one, mate.
Yeah. Anyway, this stunning woman was handpicked by the king. I hope he had good taste. She would walk out and they'd get married on the spot. Immediately. Right? On the spot. That was their reward for being innocent. Whether the accused already had a partner didn't matter to the king. Emotions didn't factor into justice.
That sentence of this was their reward for being innocent, that's interesting because that adds a lot of context, I think, to the story. Because to me, that makes it sound like the king is thinking that if they choose the woman, fate, the gods have decided that they're innocent. Mm-hmm. So they weren't. It's like, to me, like the example that comes to mind is that when they used to burn witches at the stake back like 600 years ago, the idea was if they burnt, weren't they innocent? But if they actually were a witch, they would survive or something. Which actually sounds quite counterintuitive now.
I
Because
know.
now you're being like, well, hang on, we're only killing those we can kill who aren't witches, but those are witches will escape on their flying broom.
Do you
I
remember
don't know.
the history of the US that we're reading this book? It says that they staged a lot of those because the government wanted to show they still had power. But yeah, a lot of women died for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to say though this, just think about it. Do you think it's possible? Like it says that this is the reward for being innocent, but what if the woman that the king handpicked, even if she looked stunning, what if she was so horrible? Like her personality, the way she behaved was so toxic and horrible that it would be better to die.
Yeah. Well, I think in like the real life thing that's something to look into. I think with the story here, it's just a bit more basic of like this woman that's picked magically good.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like
So even if this guy didn't want to think in black and white terms, there's still a lot of idealized things in the story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Whether the accused already had a partner, that didn't matter. Yeah, we discussed this, sorry. If the tiger came out, the crowd would mourn. Grief, be sad.
yeah.
Sad music would play, people would cry, and everyone would leave in silence, whispering about how tragic it all was.
I don't believe that.
They would still be like
Well,
entertained.
the time this is set in, wherever, is people wanted the tiger to rip people apart. So let's be honest with human behaviour.
I know.
It's
true.
like, I know this is a story again, like I'm saying, it's not based in reality, but in reality, yeah, it's going to be bloodthirsty crowds coming to watch this who want to see the tiger come out.
Do you remember in Game of Thrones there was a woman with a bear? It wasn't an arena, but it was a similar thing, and people were watching from above, like, haha, you know.
Oh, yeah. Brienne, was it? Yeah.
They gave her a wooden stick or something.
Yeah.
Or sword, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
They were really enjoying watching that. So, yeah. But if the woman came out, that'd be a full-on celebration. Priest, choir, dancing, flowers, the works. Priest, who's that?
Well, feast's more, I believe, just part of the Christian religion. So a priest is like the person in the church. You might also like. I'm not great with different variations of the Christian religion, but they got like priests and vicars, and depending on which type of variation of the Christian religion there is, it's that person who can marry people who would be up there in church and that type of stuff. So the priest is.
We didn't have a religious part in our wedding, so we didn't have a priest.
No.
Choir?
Sorry, what?
I have to join you so that it's not a one man choir.
Exactly, yeah.
It's a 2 people choir. Choir is a group of people who are singing like that.
Yeah, like we have like 20 people singing together all at once in a choir.
Dancing and flowers and the works. What does he mean by the works here?
All the trimmings, all the extras, everything. The works. If I want to have this with all the works, it's like full package. Like nothing spared. It's the works.
Yeah, everybody is just waiting if a woman comes out. Celebration.
Yeah.
The bells would ring, people would cheer, the happy couple would head home while kids tossed petals in the path. I wanted to say head home. I remember we had the same word in the previous story that I read together with Luke's mum, by the way. Yeah, head means just go in the direction of home.
I believe that comes from heading.
What is heading?
So if you're in a ship, for example, you would set a heading. So a direction, like a point in a particular, which often was set by, a compass or something, but by degrees and that, but you would set a heading and go. So you would head in that direction.
Would you ever say it in real life today?
But head home or set a heading?
No, like head meaning I'm going somewhere.
Oh yeah, I'd say let's head home, yeah.
Your mum said she wouldn't use it.
Wouldn't you?
Yes.
I don't think it's a
So
strange.
where did you learn this? If she didn't teach you.
I don't know, I'm smarter than her. I know.
She shouldn't watch this video.
I think head's a very used word still. Gonna head out, gonna head home, head to the shops.
Oh yeah, I know. I've heard you say I'm gonna head out.
Yeah, so I think a lot.
It's just every time you said that, I thought you just put your head out of the door. Yes. Petals. Kids tossed petals. They threw.
Like the leaves of a flower, like not leaves like on a tree, but like you got like a rose, you take the petals, the bits off. Yeah.
I like doing this. I have some roses here, and every time the time comes when they start falling off, I just take all of them off the flower and I toss them to experience some romantic emotions. It doesn't. It's just for fun. It doesn't really make it romantic. It was brutal, sure, but people thought it was fair. Brutal.
Violent.
The accused had a 50-50 shot, usually. No one could say the king was biased. I really like the word biased. I think it's a good word. Because
Sounds cool, biased.
Yeah, you are biased. So if you're biased, it means you are leaning one way.
Yeah.
So you are not fair,
Well, you have an agenda. If you're biased, I mean, let's say if it was a trial, you want to see if someone's innocent or guilty. If you're biased, you have a pre-assumption, an idea already of whether that person's guilty or innocent. And what that gets into me is also a phrase called like confirmation bias. Because confirmation bias might be a good one to analyse. Because confirmation bias is if you've got an idea that this person's guilty, you're going to look for all the evidence that that person is guilty and kind of ignore the evidence that shows they're innocent, because that confirms your own bias of that.
And I'm afraid whether we want it or not, as human beings, we always experience this confirmation bias.
Yeah.
Because I remember our teachers, English teachers, when they taught us how to practice reading with students, they said, when English learners or any other language learners, they start reading some kind of text, they always have some ideas. And to be honest, it's not about English learners, it's about anything. So even you, like, open an article in English, before you start reading, you have some ideas already about that topic. And what you're doing, you are confirming, or you're like checking whether that's right or wrong. Of course, in this case, you may end up thinking the other way, right? You end up thinking, oh, I was wrong. But the chances that you will confirm what you're thinking are much higher than you changing your mind on the subject.
Yeah.
Itself.
Well, it's basically you've come to a conclusion already. That's a bias. You've come to a conclusion. You're leaning one way or the other. That's what it is.
Yeah. And if you're unbiased, you're completely neutral. You have no... Yeah.
And the bias can be used in a more literal term as well. Maybe less so used, but for example, a bias could be if you've got like weights on something and you need to actually alter where the weight is, you would alter the bias. So that's the physical thing. So if you've got like, I don't know, like say a platform that needs to pivot or something like that, and you've got weights on the end, you could alter the bias to make a... So like that's like the visual or the literal representation of...
That's where it comes from.
Yeah.
This word. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I didn't know that.
We use them in cars a lot. We call it like a brake bias. So, well, this is getting a bit off the topic here, but the way a brake bias would work is cars have brakes at the front and brakes at the back. And altering the brake bias decides whether you use more of the front brakes or more of the back brakes. It's like how much of it gets used when you push the pedal. And that's the bias. It shifts one way or the other.
I actually quite like it because I think that when you explore things like this, it helps you memorize words. That's why I quite like it. Cool. Now, the king had a daughter. She was also stunning, very beautiful, gorgeous, sharp, smart. Look, it's like describing me, really.
Yeah.
And just as strong-willed as her dad. Strong-willed. What's a will? If a person has a strong will?
A will is like a desire to enact, well, to actually enact your desires. Yeah, you know, if you've got an idea, something you want to do, and someone's strong-willed, they typically will do that. They'll push through and...
That's when I say, I'm not eating chocolate anymore.
Right, and if you follow through with that, you're strong-willed. If you eat chocolate still after saying that, you're not strong-willed in that particular thing.
We're not going to comment on which one I usually do. Now, she was his favorite daughter or child, but things got messy, and one of the royal courtiers, a young man from a much lower rank, fell for her, not on her, for her.
Do we explain the difference?
Well, yes. If you fall for someone, it means you fall in love with them.
Yeah.
But if you fall on someone...
Yes. You tend to get called into HR the next day.
For what?
Sexual misconduct.
Is it brutal or is it mutual? I mean, is it rape or is it...
Well, it really depends. I mean, you know, it depends how strong-willed you are.
Right.
Depends how much of a clue you get about the situation.
In this case, I think it's all right, though, because as we can see, she fell for him or on him, too.
Yeah.
So, no, we're just joking, of course. So, he was in love with her, she was in love with him. It was a mutual feeling. They both loved each other. I really do like this expression, you fall in love and you fall out of love. I very first time when I was learning English and I heard this expression, I thought, it's just so strange, like you fall in love and you fall out of love. But yes, you can make it much shorter, you just fall for someone. Is there any shorter way of saying fall out of love with someone? She fell out of him.
No, again, that's got a very different, you know, connotation. You know, you fell on someone, which is actually quite an interesting topic because it's a very easy mistake to make to say fell for or fell on. but that very little word can have a very much of a different thing.
Yes.
You could literally fall on someone like that. That's also the other way that people probably would use, but subtleties of the English language. Falling out of love, I don't think there's any like real short, like one word way of doing it. Because you could say like she fell for him instead of falling. Is that what it says? Oh, she fell for him. Yeah.
She fell for him.
I don't know whether there's one that's as short that means she's now not falling for him.
No, I don't know.
Nothing comes to mind.
No. The only thing I can say is every time I trip over something and are kind of ready to fall, Luke says, you fell for me.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Or are you going on a trip?
Yes. I'm not going to explain
Taking a trip now.
No. Maybe somebody can Google and find out.
Why?
I don't know.
It's not dirty.
No, it's not.
No.
Well, you explain then.
Well, taking a trip's a journey. So if someone trips over, are you taking a trip? Are you taking a journey?
Because
It's corny. Cheesy.
But how about tripping as in eating mushrooms?
That's a different type of trip. That's not what I mean when I say that.
Well-
If someone's tripping out, if someone's tripping or tripping out, that could mean they're on drugs, like a hallucinogenic. But typically, I just mean when you're going for a trip, it's like you're going off on a little journey. You've tripped and you're off on yourself. Enjoy your trip. I'll see you later. You're heading out.
Right. Well, guys. Now, she fell for him too because he was bold, smart, and drop dead handsome. If somebody's bold, just like you, what does that mean?
I suppose if someone's bold, they're more confident in your face. Not necessarily in a bad way, but someone bold is... You could be bold visually. You could... I mean, think of bold text. I mean, if I just take this text in front of us now and we make a bold, it's stronger. Right? It stands out more. It's a more confident thing. So literally, that's why that text style is called bold.
Because it's bold.
Yeah.
Haha. Smart, this is easy. Drop dead handsome. I usually, of course, see drop dead together with gorgeous. Drop dead gorgeous. But in this case, it's handsome. Yeah. What is drop dead? Like you see this person and you drop dead.
I suppose it's like if someone's like drop dead gorgeous or something, it's like, you know, whatever you do and you're like, you just stop what you're doing. That's like drop dead almost. I think that there's a film, I think that in my mind, it's actually a good... do you mind if I bring them up? Because you can cut them later, yeah. So I think like a good visual representation of this would... So this idea would be what I think visually represents drop dead gorgeous would be. Not him.
Oh.
And I think that's like the visual representation of whatever like was going on that day. The people driving that car, seeing across the road, and it was like they totally dropped what they were doing and just like,
What's going on?
yeah. So like to me, that's like drop dead gorgeous, like how it manifests itself.
Absolutely. That's very good. Again, I just hope that seeing things like this, emotional context of it makes it easier to remember. Drop dead handsome in this case or gorgeous?
Good film though.
What's it called?
Desperado.
I've never heard of it. Of course. Sorry, going back to the story. We said the king had a daughter and she fell in love with someone who was just a person who was a much lower social class. And he was in love with her too. The king didn't like this. When the king found out, he was furious. Again, he was very angry, just like those tigers. How dare some low-born guy go after his daughter? Well, after his daughter. Go after his daughter. Go after. Like, wanna be with her?
Yeah, and it's interesting the way the context of this is written, because go after, like, the way the sentence is written is how dare some low-born guy go after his daughter. That's like very much written from the king's emotional point of view. because going after kind of means, in this sense, like pursuing, almost like attacking, almost in this mind. Like, you know, you go after the bad guy, you go after this, you go after the guy. He's gone after his daughter. So go after could be good. You go after this job opportunity, you go after that, but it's like he's taking action against his daughter. But the context of how this one is like that son of a bitch has gone after her,
Yes.
right? So
'Cause
yeah.
Yeah, it also sounds like he doesn't even think about what his daughter thought or felt or what action she took.
No, it's very egotistical from his point of view. That's it. Like, it's ego, and it's his pride has been insulted. So, how dare this peasant go after my daughter, who's a princess?
And I just wonder, though, maybe he's always just looking for excuses to take someone to the arena.
Maybe.
Yes. So the king had the boy thrown in jail and scheduled him for a trial in the arena. Right. Everyone was buzz like bees.
It's almost like the electric atmosphere of like when people are buzzing, that they're excited, they're murmuring, like, oh my god, they're like gossiping almost. Like books, buzzing itself is quite a positive word, right? If people are buzzing about it, it's like an event that's happening and they're psyched up and ready to do.
Because for them it didn't matter again if he'd leave or die, because it would be just entertainment anyway. This kind of thing had never happened before. Oh yeah. I don't think they mean the arena. I think they mean a guy falling in love with.
Yeah, I suppose like everyone up to that point of being accused like something murder or stealing or something, like this is a different type of drama to it, so to speak.
The kingdom's tiger cages were searched top to bottom for the most terrifying beasts they could find. I like the word beast. It sounds nice.
It's like raw animal, isn't it? Beast. It's not. Beast is untamed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild.
You couldn't call a rabbit a beast. At the same time, the best matchmakers were out looking for the perfect woman in case the young man opened the right door. Matchmakers are people who want to make a couple. They would find a man and a woman that would be a good couple together.
Yeah.
Have you ever used the services of matchmakers?
No. I suppose the closest one is like you go on an online dating website and like now profiles rank with compatibility. So that's an example of matchmaking.
Today.
In a modern sense, yeah.
That's what we did. That's how we met.
Yeah, ours didn't have matchmaking though, not our site.
No, it wasn't.
No, that was actually better not having matchmaking because it's...
Do you think that's based on your profile? I wouldn't find you. I found Luke, by the way.
I think the thing with modern matchmaking when it's instant related stuff is algorithmic driven. So the YouTube algorithm actually is matchmaking. YouTube's finding videos they think you want to watch and curates that for you. And often it does get it quite right, but what that does at the same time, it stops YouTube recommending videos I think you don't want or from smaller unknown creators. Same happens on dating websites, that kind of stuff. Once someone gets to send on to matches, wherever the algorithm's like, this person good, blah, 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 we're going to show them. Everyone else just kind of gets like, pardon my French, but everyone gets fucked off. It's like that.
No, I'm sorry, I know what you mean, but the thing is, I paid £30 to be on this website per month.
Yeah.
And in that month, I went through every single person.
Slut.
Because I didn't want to pay for the next month. So I would have met you anyway, even if you were at the bottom of the list. I would still...
We want quite a niche site though, to be fair.
Yes.
And more of a basic site, but if it was somewhere like, let's just say it said what the default people go to on Tinder, it's like you wouldn't get to all the people.
No.
And like Tinder's probably the worst case of they're matchmaking you based on algorithmic things. So there's an example where the algorithm doesn't work right. I see it myself as a YouTube creator that often big channels, once they're big, will put a video out there and get millions of views, mostly because the fact that YouTube now recommends them. They feel like they're a safe bet to push forward. It ends up in everyone's news feeds. The matchmaking has happened. As a smaller creator, we put videos out there and they get 100 views, where, you know, if it was a big channel, I'd have 1 million views, because YouTube doesn't feel like they want to match me to other people on YouTube, you know, to viewers.
I think there is a lot more dangerous thing going on with social media, and I'm sure people discuss this a lot, you know, on social media, that very often when you have a certain, either a political view or some other kind of view, you get seeing things that are on that topic with the same view. So they are all like, you are very biased, and the whole algorithm is biased.
Exactly, confirmation bias.
You don't see the opposing view at all, and you end up thinking that everyone thinks the same way as you do, or you never get to see the arguments of the other side, which I think is a very dangerous thing.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, if you're watching videos because you, I don't know, think cats are the devil or something, then you're more likely to see more videos of cats being the devil. It's not going to recommend videos to you or news stories of cats doing wonderful things. So you're just going to see more and more of that happening. That's a danger of modern society, though, because you couldn't get that confirmation bias algorithmically through legacy media like print or television, because, yeah, you could tune into a certain channel and get it, but it's targeted these days directly into your feed.
It's a difficult question, because I know that a lot of people who believe something, they would end up choosing the same type of information anyway. If they read some kind of magazine or newspaper, or they watch some channel, they would end up watching the same thing anyway.
They would, yeah, but I kind of feel out what the danger is like, before they'd have to go out looking forward a little bit, and whilst they're looking forward, they're probably going to just stumble across alternative views, even if they pass them over. It's like, you know, if you have a particular newspaper you used to buy at newsstands, like there was a left-leaning newspaper or something, you'd still have to walk past the right-leaning ones and you'd see their headlines. These days, you've got a curated feed that's pushing directly into down onto your phone, your notifications, ignoring the stuff you don't want to see, the stuff that doesn't align with your views or your beliefs. So you're just getting what they think you want. And I think that's the danger of the modern media consumption. It's wonderful in terms of getting information, but it's very easy to miss the other side of the story unless you go actively looking for it.
Yeah, because sometimes it's really amazing. Let's say I've been watching lots of stuff about like the US business that we're going to be doing, and it keeps giving me amazing content.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I probably wouldn't have been able to find this particular video myself, because let's say it doesn't have many views, so maybe it wouldn't be recommended to me. But because I've watched other similar ones, it comes up. But yeah, at the same time has lots of...
I'm just going to show you on my phone here. I'll point it to the screen now. But I have this app on it called Particle. And it's a news feed that comes up. Really, really great application. But essentially what we're going to see on here is a very curated news feed of what I say I want or don't want. So I say I might want politics, I might say I want certain technology stuff, and I can literally hold it down even and say, I want more of this topic or less of this topic. Now, whilst I get stories I'm going to see, I know that this is going to end up as a biased feed of what I want to see. I'm not going to see the counter-argument to it. So I think that's a very important thing to keep into mind when you're looking at stuff these days, of those biases. And what was it, matchmaking we started off?
Yes.
We've got off this topic a bit, but circling back, I don't think this is what they meant by matchmaking fully, but this is how it's evolved to. Yeah, you know, matchmaking, you need to make sure that you also look at the alternative outside of it.
Absolutely. Now, we keep going. Yes, we went off on a tangent, but that's fine.
It's a good phrase to use. Off on a
See?
tangent.
Everyone knew the guy loved the princess, but the king didn't care. This was his favorite game, justice by spectacle. Spectacle.
Well, that's kind of over the top of spectacle often, you know, it's big.
It's big.
Yeah.
Yes.
Grand.
Grand. Like spectacular comes from this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he wasn't about to let some love story, even his daughter's love story, ruin it. The big day finally arrived. People came from every corner of the kingdom to watch. The stadium was packed, again, packed with people. I think we saw this before. The king sat in his usual spot right across from the two doors. Right. When the signal was given, the young man walked confidently into the arena. The crowd gasped. He was tall, calm, and striking. Striking. Everybody was struck.
Well, I suppose if he's like struck by lightning, obviously it's a more literal, violent term, but it's like when someone's striking. Well, I suppose actually when you say someone's like drop dead gorgeous, like someone could be striking but not gorgeous, but it's the same kind of thing as like stop someone a bit in the tracks. Like you take notice that the striking, it's like, whoa, have you seen them? Like what they're doing, or it could be the way they look, the way they act, what their actions are. Many different things can make someone striking, but
in this case, they just saw him and they immediately were like, oh.
Yeah.
So, I just wanted to say, so he walked confidently into the arena. So I think this is because he was confident that the princess would point at the door where the woman was. He was sure that things would be okay. I don't think he was confident because he could beat the tiger. What do you think?
I think there's a possibility the way you've said it is how it's meant. To me, though, walking confidently into the arena is actually just, in my interpretation, is to make, as the narrator, to make the crowd kind of like fall in love with him superficially, but just in a very not over-explained way. So if someone walks into the arena unconfidently, they wouldn't be tall, calm, and striking. No. Right? They might still be tall, but probably a bit more hunched over, nervous, and
striking.
Yeah. So that's, I think it's just that kind of, right, like, you know, let's imagine you're watching something like Troy or something, one of those films, or Gladiator again. You know, you've got like Russell Crowe or Brad Pitt or something walking into this thing, you know, the tall, confident, striking in the way they're acting. It's like they're the hero. Like, you don't want to see that person die in it. So that's, I think, to me, that's what it's saying.
Yeah, you imagine Brad Pitt walking here.
Yeah, yes. And then it's like, the crowds don't want him to die. And it's like, no wonder the princess is into him. So it's kind of to show he's a good, you know, hero type figure. And
yeah, that's why they all say even people who didn't know him felt a pang of sadness. A pang is like sharp feeling.
Like a twitch, like a
pain.
Like a yeah.
So yeah, no wonder the princess was into him. Was into him actually is another way to say, in this case, she was in love with him, or she just liked him. She
into him, fancied him, had a crush on him. Or could be, you know, into him could be more than that, but yeah, it's just kind of like, you know, an attraction there to them.
Now he's out. He paused and he bowed to the king. He went like, you know, not just nodded, not just his head. The whole body went like down, right? His eyes locked on the princess sitting on her father's right. Her face was pale. Can you demonstrate a pale face?
No, that'd make it more red.
Yeah, that would make it red. I should really scare you. So pale means white.
White, yeah. Like when someone's scared, they're pale. Yeah.
So her face was pale. She was all white. Her eyes blazing.
So I think like when you see someone's got fire in their eyes or something, like they're like, you know, locked in, they're like blazing. It's like looking intensely at you. There's something going on.
It looks a bit scary when you visualize it, a woman with a white face, but with fire in her eyes.
Yeah, not literal, but it's like a piercing,
Yes.
like,
Yes.
yeah.
From the moment she'd heard the verdict, she hadn't thought about anything else, which really does make sense. She heard the verdict, the decision,
Yeah.
the official decision by the king in this case, but I think it will be more by the judge or the jury if...
I think in this one,
Yeah.
there probably wasn't. Well, I don't know. It
Yeah.
doesn't really matter, does it? It's...
Yeah, it's just because this word is very... it's a term, like it's a...
Yeah, well, yeah. In the modern sense, people use the word verdict of like the jury's come to a conclusion of this, unless you live in a dictatorship, then. But you know, well, you still have the verdicts. Like there's a difference between a verdict in most countries, and in some countries have a verdict.
Yes.
So yeah, we've come to the conclusion that you're guilty. I think that's like...
I think the king's method is better in this case. At least you have 50-50 chance. Yeah, as soon as when she heard about the verdict, she hadn't thought about anything else. She had made it her mission to find out what was behind each door. And she'd done it. With her wealth, her riches, her iron will, a strong will. Determination. She bribed the right people. Look at her. So she
bribes, like, convinced with money almost. Like, if I give you $20, will you go into a restaurant? They've got no seats. Oh, sorry, sir, we don't have any tables left. Maybe slip them $20. Anything you can do for us?
You sit at the bar.
Give me one moment, sir. I'll find what we can, if we have a seat for you.
You see someone
That's
flying
bribing
out of
someone.
the window.
Yeah. Don't try giving a policeman $20 if you caught speeding. That's
not a good idea. But in some countries it works.
those are the countries where, you know,
The
verdicts
verdict.
happened. Yeah.
Anyway, she figured it out. One door hid the tiger. Well, obviously we know one door always hid the tiger and the other one hid the lady, but she found out which is which. The doors were soundproof and thick, so you couldn't hear. Obviously, if the tiger was loud, you could still not hear. But she pushed through every obstacle. She went through everything that could, like a barrier.
Yeah, not literal barriers, but just like issues that come up one at a time, problems to overcome. She overcome every problem, everything that would try to stop her from finding out. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It says nothing would stop her from knowing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just any woman behind that second door. No, that girl, again, drop dead gorgeous. That's when, this phrase. And worse, the princess had seen her sneaking glances at her man.
Jealousy, you know. Jealousy creeps in.
Yes. Sneaking. It's like hidden but secret. Glances, like looks. Yeah, this woman was like shooting. Haha, look at me. Mm-hmm. Maybe all of this was just in the princess's head. Maybe not. But the idea that the girl could end up with her lover. Sorry.
Yeah, with her lover.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, but the idea that that girl could end up with her lover was unbearable.
And this is where the phrase to my mind's coming in. This is why I think she released the tiger, because I think there's a phrase of hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. And this is what I'm thinking is going through her mind.
Are you saying that if this was the other way around, okay, let's just imagine it wasn't a princess, it was a prince, and his lover, a woman, was put onto the arena, then he would have made a different choice.
Possibly.
Why do you think so?
I can't rationally say why. And we are looking more traditional stereotypes, because we are looking. This story does lead into stereotypes, doesn't it? For the sake of its storytelling.
Yeah, it does.
And I think it's important. The stereotypes it leans upon means it doesn't have to explain further than what it is. That's what keeps it a short story of lean into those stereotypes.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's to me the stereotype of the man being tall, handsome, dashing. It's the stereotype. The princess is beautiful but fiery tempered. Stereotype. The king is like all encompassing power. The stereotype. So I think it's just it has these quick stereotypical decisions of like life, death, good, bad. So,
So yeah, again, even if we didn't want to end up with this black and white thinking, maybe we kind of did. Yeah, but I want to discuss this phrase, end up with, not just with, end up in some way. A lot of people, a lot of English learners, when they see the phrasal verb end up as in a certain way, they think finally this happens, but that's not the way. I mean, if you end up in a certain way, let's say in this case, well, to be honest, I heard this phrase many times when I was in Asia teaching, that a lot of native English teachers ended up in Asia, like Southeast Asia, they ended up teachers because they just didn't know what else to do. Maybe they decided to travel and then they went to some country like Thailand or something, and they heard maybe someone was teaching, they decided to try it themselves, and they went to a school, they got the job, and they ended up as teachers.
yeah, I think in other words, it means like that's how the situation played out. That's what the situation that's what the situation came to.
So they never planned to do it. It just a chain of events that led to this.
I don't know, I think sometimes it could be planned. But often, I think it's just a very ambiguous term of being. End up means just that's what happens.
That's what happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
an upend has a different meaning again, doesn't it?
Which one?
Upend. So like the word order is very important.
I don't know what that means. What's upend?
If something's upended, it's like disrupted very quickly. Our plans were upended, or we were upended not to like leave the house quickly. So word order is very important. End up. Upend's not used too much, but like it does have a very different connotation or different meaning by just swapping those two words around.
Yes. So in this case, it's you end up. Yes. So when the young man looked at her, again, visualize this. The man is on the arena looking at his lover, and the princess is all pale. She's looking at him. So when the young man looked at her, he didn't say a word, but his eyes asked the question, which one, which door? And she understood instantly, obviously, immediately, right? She understood. No time to think, no time to weigh the options, Yeah. She leaned forward slightly, like leaned forward. Her body kind of came forward a bit. Yeah. Eyes never leaving his eyes. And motioned barely visibly to the door on the right. So she kind of, she didn't look at it, she just moved a bit to the right.
Gave him a clue.
Yeah, gave him a clue. Okay.
Raging clue.
Raging clue.
So motion, like, yeah, but barely visibly. It's just a very subtle indication. Like, could be an eyebrow, could be just an eye moving to the right, shoulder, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Barely is also a very nice word, I think, that people don't use much. I don't hear my students use it much, so if you don't, pay attention to this word. Barely means hardly, like almost nothing.
Yeah,
very
minimalistic,
little.
And it's also, it's quite important that because emotions could be big by itself. You know, you're driving down the road and the police stops you and they're like, over there, that's emotion, but it's a big emotion. With the barely visibly, like, shrinks it right down to just like, that's a difference, small motion.
Yeah, exactly. Well, obviously, he trusted her completely. Without hesitation, he walked over and opened it. Without hesitation, he didn't think twice. He was just like...
he didn't stop, did he? It was like...
Immediately, just...
Yeah, just went for it.
And now, the real question.
What do you Russian people call it? Davai?
Davai.
Davai.
Davai, let's do it. And now the real question, did the tiger come out or the lady? This isn't just about logic, it's about raw emotion. Put yourself in her shoes. A proud, fiery, half-barbaric princess, torn between love, jealousy and rage.
So to me, you've got raw emotion. Raw is a good word. It's stripped back. There's nothing sophisticated about it. It's primal, it's wild, it's animalistic, it's raw. Which by its nature is not logical.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
By the way, do you know the difference between emotions and feelings?
I know we've had this conversation and I don't fully remember what the difference is. I feel like a feeling is what a squirrel would experience.
And emotion?
An emotion's more complex, or is it the other way around? I feel like one of them's a bit more from upper development, upper consciousness, and one's a bit more just gut.
I get what you mean. In that case, I'd say the other way around. So emotion is the immediate thing you get. But this is something I read. It says that, yes, emotion is the first thing you get, and you actually don't know what the feeling is. It's just something that you are experiencing, but you don't put it a label. You don't know what it is yet. You just have some sensation. And then you think, there was an example like this. Let's say two people go to a party, and when they arrive, there's a lot of people, and they both have this sensation inside. And one of them thinks, oh, so many people. And then she says, I'm excited. And then that will be a feeling. She gives it a name. But the other person says, oh, so many people, I'm nervous. That person gave it a feeling of nervousness.
I disagree.
But this is actually one of the reasons why, in this particular example, a lot of being excited and being nervous can be, they kind of are together.
Well, that's something I realised that was going on in my body, that I'd walk into a situation and sometimes, and this is why I'm going to say feeling, I'd have this feeling in my stomach of like kind of, and I didn't know whether it was nervousness or excitement, because they're quite similar and can definitely come up together at the same time, but manifest itself physically in quite a similar way. Now, to me, that's why I think emotion is the higher one of the two, the more complex, because I think if you went to a psychiatrist, they would say something to you, what's the emotion that you're feeling?
No, they don't.
Well, they wouldn't say what's the feeling that's your emotion.
Well, they just say, what did you feel? What was the feeling when you... Let's
I think emotion is the more complex one. I think the feeling is that uneasiness in your stomach. The emotion is being excited or nervous.
Emotions and feelings, while related, are distinct experiences. Emotions are primal, physiological experiences to stimuli, while feelings are the conscious interpretations and awareness of those emotions. Emotions are the raw, often subconscious reactions, while feelings are the mental, subjective experience.
Interesting. That's the opposite to what I said it was, wasn't it? So what you initially said was probably like aligns more with that description, no?
Yeah, and I quite like this picture. First you get the emotion, but then with evaluation, experience, culture, situation, you know, okay, I'm feeling this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard that like you can't name an emotion. When you're feeling it, you don't know what it is until you realize it, analyze it, and then you give it a name, and then you can't. I don't think then it can be an emotion because you already analyzed it. It's a feeling now. So I don't think you can name an emotion.
Yeah.
That's my understanding anyway. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Would she really be able to sit and watch him marry another woman? Watch him smile at her, walk hand in hand through a shower of flowers with the crowd cheering and music playing? That sounds sad now. Good for him, but
Hell hath no fury.
Yeah. Or would she rather see him die quickly? Would he die quickly if it was a tiger attacking him? I don't know. And join her in some wild, eternal afterlife, forever out of reach, but never belonging to anyone else. I like the word afterlife. I think a lot of people wonder whether there is an afterlife. She had wrestled with the choice for days. Wrestled.
Kept changing her mind one way or the other. Like, should I do this? Should I do that? Coming to one conclusion, and then coming to another conclusion.
Like a wrestler.
Exactly, yeah. Fighting with a choice, yeah.
And when the moment came, she didn't hesitate. Again, it's interesting. So she hesitated a lot first. She was like thinking, should I do this? Should I do that? But then when the moment came, when...
You put on the spot.
Yes. She didn't hesitate. She knew which one. She pointed right. And we leave it for you to decide which one came out. The lady or the tiger. What do you guys think? Leave a comment. In the meantime, I would like to ask you a couple more questions. First, we spoke about love and jealousy, right? We also spoke about whether this was fair. In this case, we know the man's choice was affected by somebody from the outside. What if it wasn't? What if it was a 50-50 chance like it was supposed to be? Do you think it's a fair way of doing the justice?
No, of course not. I mean, let's say I was accused of doing a crime. We don't want it to come down to a coin flip of whether I'm guilty or innocent. I want a proper trial that looks about, well, you know, that's what the common law system is. It's meant to be fair in the way it's designed, at least in its concept of that. You know, you've got the defense, you've got the prosecution, you argue both sides of it, and you come to the conclusion based on evidence and, I suppose, feelings. Yeah, that people, you know, the testimonials and that. That's justice in the modern world.
It's also very interesting because when you think about if people believe in fate, let's say if you believe in fate, and then how this would work out in that case, because it doesn't matter if you're guilty or innocent. I mean, if you're innocent, you probably believe that because you're innocent, you would open the right door. It's interesting they used the right for both cases. Oh, like at the end, and also for the right, meaning where the lady was behind the door. But let's say the person is... they opened the door with the tiger behind and they die. Would you just consider it, okay, that was his fate? Because if a person...
Interesting, because it depends on, I think it's a cultural thing though. Quite often, if you look at certain countries, I think like India is an example of it, that people don't really wear seatbelts because if they were to crash and die, that's just down to fate and they were meant to die that day. Often if you look at countries in the Middle East, I think like when the US Army were pulling out of Afghanistan, they were teaching some of the natives there how to fire weapons, and they found that some of the natives were firing weapons above their head, not aiming at the target in front of them. They
were shooting the god.
No, they said, well, God will guide the bullets. They believe the fate of bullets would hit that target if it was meant to hit the target. Your human interaction didn't have anything to intervene with it. Now, as a Western person, that seems like very strange and illogical, but to them, it's like totally logical. You know, to me, if I want to shoot you with a gun, I need to point the gun at you. For them, if they want to shoot you with the gun, they want to stick it above their head and let God guide the bullet. And
that's a very different interpretation. I also want to say, for instance, in Russian, we have a phrase, it goes as «Бережёного Бог бережет». It means if you take care of yourself, then God takes care of you.
Yeah.
And again, you don't know though, because maybe you do everything to take care of yourself, but then you die of some silly something.
Which that's like the Indian kind of like philosophy of like, well, I'm not wearing a seatbelt because if I crash and I die, I'm meant to die that day. Just statistically, car deaths with people wearing seatbelts are much, much lower. So like, I just two different philosophies at play really.
Yeah, it's true. So in this case, we also don't know. Although people in this case thought if they opened the, well, depending on which door they opened, it showed whether they were guilty or innocent, even if it had nothing to do with reality.
Yeah.
Because maybe a person did commit a crime. That would be really horrible. Just imagine that maybe a person is a serial killer or something else, like really horrible. And people sitting in there in the audience, they want this person to die because they got hurt by this person. But he is cheering because he's now getting married with some beautiful someone and they are happy. What kind of justice is this?
Well, here's the other thing about justice, like, in Western cultures, the concept of does the punishment fit the crime? And, you know, we would say that the punishment of either nothing or death doesn't fit that crime. I mean, that's not a crime, what he's done in Western worlds these days, but just for the context of this, you know, he's treated just as severely as someone who has killed a lot of people or, you know, committed atrocities. The same outcome is like you could marry the woman of your dreams or you're going to be eaten by a tiger. So that's also why I think it's not just and it's not fair.
No, yeah, it's true. Now, another thing that I'd like to ask you is about open endings. How do you feel about open endings, not just in books, but also in films, shows?
Often I like them. Sometimes I like just to have the conclusion there. It depends whether I want to think about it or analyse it. So my favourite film is The Shining, which I know you absolutely hate. But we'll talk about some spoilers here, okay? Just so if you have not watched The Shining and you want to watch it, maybe you don't want to look at this next segment. But as you were saying at the end of the movie...
For me, I didn't think that it had an open ending. I thought the main character dies in the end. But then I remember there was something with a photo.
So after Jack dies at the end of the film, he's frozen. We see the very last scene of the film. It's a camera panning in slowly, and it focuses on his photograph at the end. It's the very last thing we see, and it's a picture of the main character about 60 years earlier in the 1920s, looking same age, identical. And that was the whole thing. And then it cuts to black. But to me, like, that's the open ending of what was that? Like that just totally changed the narrative of the film.
But it doesn't mean that there's going to be something in the future, or will there be another, what's his name, Jack? Is that what, because if you're just talking about what the film meant and the way the character felt and acted, but in this case, the open ending doesn't mean there's going to be something else after this story, or what?
Well, certainly could to me. Well, there was a sequel to The Shining as well, which was also kind of reinforced this bit, but what this did to me was, and the reason I've been this film up and why it's my favourite film, because that moment was such a powerful, like holy shit, like, well, what did that mean? I need to rewatch the film again. I mean, I've rewatched this film every year now. I must have, you know, and every time I do it, I analyse and see more things, because everything's open to interpretation in the film.
My understanding is this, you know, when some poets or, you know, people create some kind of art and then people are like, what does he mean by that?
Yeah.
What does he mean by this? I think Luke has put
That
a lot
film
of
is,
his own, yes.
Yeah. But I'm not the only one to do that. It's like anyone who has like one of their favourite films, it's because it's a love or hate film, but anyone who loves that film has their interpretation of how it is. And that's the open ending. But then it goes back, as you rewatch the film, it's open throughout the film, everything. So you watch it the first time, you don't quite know what to make, but then you start your own conclusions. You know, there's other films we watched like that. I mean...
The latest one that we watched was Squid Game.
Yeah.
And it had an open ending now. My feeling is they did it only because they want to make more of it.
Yeah, see, that to me, that's a different type of open ending.
Yeah.
But it's still open ending. Because it's not a confusing open ending, it's not what the hell was that. I suppose that's the thing, like, certain ones make you think and interpret what was the meaning of that. And other ones are just like, there's still more to be told. Right, Squid Game was, there's still more to be told. The Shining, it was not necessarily there's more to be told, but like, what did that mean? And that's the difference.
Yeah, you're trying to understand what happened and why it happened.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I mean, my favorite song's Hotel California, and that's more of an open thing of it. It's a bit more ambiguous. You know, you're the reason I liked it was because you put your own stamp on it. You make that movie, that song, that piece of media, what it is to you, right? So like, it's like this book we're reading here, the story. Throughout it, it's kind of open. You put your interpretation of what you think those characters are like, because it doesn't overly state to you what it is.
Yeah.
It takes more mental energy.
I know what you mean. I do like open endings sometimes, but yeah, it's true that sometimes it's really nice to see an ending, you know, what happens. You have this feeling that it's over, it's complete, this situation has resolved, and you leave with some feeling of lightness.
Yeah, I mean, quite often, I love 90s action films, right? And they honestly don't have that kind of ambiguous storytelling. They're straightforward. You're not questioning your life after you've watched it. It's entertainment, and it doesn't take much mental capacity to do it. So I quite often just like going down that route instead. So, yeah.
I think my last question, I don't know, when the author wrote this story, whether it was for children or it was for adults. And if it was for children, would it be suitable? For what ages it will be suitable? You know what I mean? Like, it's quite a...
I think many children's nursery rhymes are more violent than this.
I know that in the past they wrote a lot of crazy fairy tales, and we don't even really know, because I think today we read the edited versions of them. You know, even I don't know which ones those are, but I know that there are fairy tales which we think, oh, this is a nice story with a nice ending, but the original story that was written is completely horrible, with some children dying, like, I mean, brutally, like, violently being killed, like, and you wouldn't think that was written for children. It's like crazy.
But the thing is, I mean, this story's not as dark as Harry Potter gets. Right? I know plenty of, like, parents read it to, like, 7 to 10 year olds. You know what I mean? You don't think it's inappropriate to read them Harry Potter. So, I don't think it's a particularly hard one to say, I'm not going to read this to the child. It's to say most nursery rhymes and children's stories still have. I mean, like, what's the was it Goldilocks and the Three Bears and all
Something
that?
like that.
You know, them ones have lots of, like, violence in them when you look at it. I mean, look at Shrek. Really, Shrek's the perfect example of a modern fairy tale based upon what's already been told.
What's the most confusing part in it is about the children from the dragon and the donkey.
Exactly. I mean, you know, if you want kids starting to ask questions about that, that's like
hard to explain.
Yeah.
But yes, what do you think, guys? Did you like the story? What feelings or emotions did you experience after listening to the story? Did you like Luke being on this episode? Shall we have more of Luke? And anything else? I'd like to hear from you, and we'll be back with I'll be back, or we'll be back.
I'll be back
with a new story.
That's a great 90s film.
Yeah.
Action film. Sam and Lisa too. I'll be back.
All right, guys. See you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
See you.
Bye.